In a previous movie, we talked about the color scheme of the grid and how a minor grid line is a different color from a major grid line. And it's extremely difficult to see the difference in the default color scheme here. We can change the color of the viewport background and the grid in order to make it much more legible. Let's do that. We'll go into the Customize menu and choose Customize User Interface. In that dialog, we've got a bunch of tabs here. Let's choose the Colors tab. And the default elements that we'll be working with are the viewports. We can scroll down inside there. We're looking for a viewport background. Select that, and we can change the color of the viewport background. Now, this is the current color, but notice how much darker it is in the actual viewport, and that's because gamma correction is currently enabled. And we'll talk more about gamma later when we look at rendering, but basically what's happening here is that the entire color scheme of the program is being pushed towards a darker realm because gamma is enabled. So what you see in this swatch will not actually correspond to the actual background. You can have to kind of do some trial and error here. I'll click on that color swatch, and I want to set this color to a brighter value. I know what I want actually because I've played around and experimented. I'm going to set the value to 100. Click OK. And for that to take effect, I need to click Apply Colors Now down here. And now I've got a lighter colored background. Okay, we also want to change the color of the grid. We can see that there is a slight difference between the minor and major grid lines, but we can make that better. Go back into Customize User Interface, and under Elements, we can choose Grids from that pull-down list. Grids. And now we've got the ability to set the color or by intensity, and it's easiest to just use intensity. And it's at 103 right now. I'm going to bring that down to a value of 90 and then click Apply Colors Now. And once it refreshes, we can see our grid a little bit better. And if we dolly back with the wheel, now it's really clear where the minor grid lines and the major grid lines are. And this is the interface color scheme that I tend to use because it's just way, way more legible and way easier on the eyes. We can save this as well. If we close 3ds Max and it shuts down successfully, then these colors will be saved for the next session. However, if 3ds Max quit unexpectedly or crashed, then these settings would not be saved. We can save it explicitly by clicking on the Save button down here. And we're taken into a folder in our current user's profile in Windows. And if I go over here and click on the Save In button, it'll show us exactly where we're saving to. Current user, app data, local, Autodesk, 3ds Max, etc., inside a folder called UI. And it's got a default file name here, which is default UI. I'm actually going to change that so that it's really clear what I'm dealing with, because this is not actually the default UI. I've changed it. I'll call it Aaron's Colors or something like that. And I can always get that back by selecting that file. All right, excellent. So that's how we can customize the colors of the viewport background and the home grid to make it a lot more legible.